Coming up on this Boston Olympics 2024 special edition of WEBN News, we'll take a look at the overall goal of Boston 2024 and what to expect before, during, and after the Games.
That's right, and later on we'll also be heading to the Boston Common to see what's in store for that location and the possible games that could take place there. Hello and welcome to WEBN's Boston 2024 Olympic Special. I'm Isaac Moore.
And I'm Meredith Berry.
Boston's 2024 vision is to use the Olympic Games as a way of improving and accelerating the long-term goals of the Commonwealth. Over the course of the next half hour, we'll give you a breakdown of what's in store for the city, along with the planning leading up to the events. During the committee's first public meeting, Mayor Marty Walsh spoke about the goals for the entire city and how they coincide with the benefits that can come from hosting the Games.
I want to make sure as we build out our infrastructure and build out our economic development, it's not just happening here or in downtown Crossing or in the financial district or in the Seaport. We need to make sure that people in Roxbury, in Dorchester, and Mattapan, Hyde Park have the same opportunities for employment and jobs. We need to make sure people have those opportunities. As mayor of the city of Boston, that's my #1 priority.
Now, Jessica Griffith will explain a little bit more about the committee's developing plans and how it intends to bring the mayor's visions and goals for the city to life.
The Olympics have the chance to change a city. Supporters of Boston 2024 say holding the Olympics here will allow for new infrastructure, housing, and a boost in tourism.
Those are the kinds of projects that would be fantastic for the Olympics. And frankly, something, as John mentioned, we believe the Olympics can help push, to help prod, to help catalyze.
With new infrastructure, the city will have new venues, better transportation, and additional affordable housing. The Athletes' Village will be at Columbia Point using modular construction techniques. After the Games, these units will be moved to different neighborhoods in need of affordable housing.
It's the capital in those facilities that David talked about, the UMass Village, potentially with a circle, working with private-public partnerships and real estate developers, with the community and the VRA, to make sure that the developments have a long-term use beyond the Olympics, so that UMass Village could become dormitories for students. It could also become workforce housing and other housing there and across the city.
Holding the 2024 Olympics would not only catalyze many things in Boston, it would also promote strong economic growth.
My last comment was about the benefits, the economic benefits of having an Olympic bid here, having tourists and people coming to the city, spending money, venues here, hotels being full, restaurants being eaten in, growing our economy, and also growing our economy by bringing in other industry that's going to be long-term industry. So I do think it's a good idea.
The Olympics will also create jobs in the city. Thousands of construction jobs will become available in the 7-year build-up to the Games. Despite having many people against the Games in Boston, supporters hope people will see the new jobs, housing, and transportation as an incentive. In Boston, Jessica Griffith for WEBN.
The committee hopes those incentives will be enough to show Boston citizens that hosting the Games will only result in benefits. The aim of the 2024 Games is to leave a lasting legacy within the city that will help Boston flourish in the years following. Now, you're probably wondering why Boston was chosen as the host city for the 2024 Olympics. It beat out Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C.
That's right, Meredith. Put simply, the combination of the city's infrastructure, environment, and transportation system make for a walkable and sustainable Olympic Games.
And to begin the discussion, Boston is home to many existing facilities, which put it at an advantage and originally helped it win the bid over other U.S. cities back in January.
The current breakdown is set to include half of the total events to be placed in existing facilities, 40% will be placed in temporary facilities, and another 10% will be held in new permanent facilities that can be reused and will have a lasting legacy in the city's expansion goals. Temporary facilities will include an Olympic Village for athletes' housing, the erection of an Olympic Stadium in South Boston that will hold opening and closing ceremonies as well as track and field events. Additional facilities will be proposed to hold certain events, include the TD Garden to host basketball and gymnastics, Gillette Stadium to host rugby and soccer, and the Brookline Country Club to host golf. Finally, the Boston Common to host beach volleyball.
And speaking of beach volleyball, Maggie Smolka is at the Boston Common to tell us a little bit more about what to expect there in the 2024 Games. Maggie?
Well, right now, this bleacher is the only seating available for those wanting to watch an activity on the ball field. But this could all change if Boston hosts the 2024 Olympics. Event organizers are proposing a 16,000-seat beach volleyball stadium that would be located right about where I'm standing and removed once the games are over. Still, the idea is causing a lot of controversy.
Very tangible concern that's easy to think about and to bring that into the conversation and knowing some of the opinions that were expressed.
It was a heated debate.
If you let me finish, sir?
Some people were in favor of the Boston 2024 bid, others were opposed.
No one has asked the citizens whether they want this and what their values are.
In many ways, the Boston Common is one of the most loved places in the city, so proposing a short-term arena in the park didn't go over too well with community members.
That's why Boston is Boston and why we love Boston, because people love their city. We all love our city. And so people are protective of it, and that's totally understandable, and that's how it should be.
Of course, this is still a conversation of what the Olympics could bring to Boston. Nothing is set in stone.
I think there's still a lot of onions and questions that people have about the Olympics and how it would benefit or hurt the city of Boston. So we're going to continue to listen to all those questions and concerns.
The community thinks the venue could cause long-term damage to the historic park, but Mayor Walsh is promising.
I'm going to insist, if those venues are used, that they are restored to better condition than they were before the Olympics went in there.
Now, if you take a look behind me, you'll see a lot of trees. About 50 of them will have to be removed in order for the arena to take place. Yet another red flag for those opposed to this idea. Again, this is still a work in progress, and Boston 2024 organizers have mentioned they're looking into other facilities. Live in the Boston Common, Maggie Smolka, WEBN.
Thanks, Maggie. Coming up, we'll take a closer look at the use of campus facilities and exactly how much they'll be contributing to the 2024 Games.
We'll also learn a little bit more about the proposed Olympic Village and how it will continue to contribute to the city's growth after the Games.
We'll give you more with information on the committee and how they're making headlines about fiercely opposing Boston's Olympic bid. Stay tuned.
Local universities are set to play a key role in the Games if Boston is chosen.
That's right, it's home to multiple athletic facilities and dormitory housing.
These campuses are major players when it comes to planning economically. Using existing facilities helps to save money that would otherwise be used to build more venues.
It's being referred to as the University Cluster by the Olympic Committee and has a lot to offer for the Games.
The U.S. Olympic Committee is planning to use campus sites for nearly a third of the sports in the 2024 Games if they are held in Boston.
Partnering with the universities, partnering with Harvard, BU, MIT, BC, UMass Boston, UMass Lowell. These games don't happen without those partnerships, without using their facilities, some that exist, some that we will partner with in order to build new facilities that will have a real legacy for those universities.
Using existing college athletic facilities and dorms for housing as part of the university cluster is not only essential to stay within the budget, but would also present opportunities for these campuses to prosper in the future. Boston University, a part of the university cluster, would hand over its dorms as well as the Agganis Arena to stage the badminton competition. The U.S. Olympic Committee believes Boston has the perfect balance of venues, transportation, and visions for the city's future.
They are asking for cities to put in proposals like ours, using colleges and universities, using existing venues, and not putting cities bankrupt or behind, but actually ensuring the city is thriving after an Olympic Games.
Among others, benefits to hosting the Olympics would include a new 6,000-bed structure for UMass Boston, as well as a refurbished 10-lane pool, although the next step comes with consent from these universities to occupy their campuses. For WEBN, this is Erin Mahoney.
If some of the college campuses do decide to back out of their involvement in the games, Boston 2024 has submitted backup options just in case at other existing facilities.
Boston's bid is relying heavily on the involvement of UMass Boston. The campus will be transformed into an Olympic Village with the construction of new facilities. The university's future plans align with those of the Olympic Committee and their plans for future construction.
Brianna Jennings is live at UMass Boston with more information. Brianna?
It may not look like much now, but the 20-acre parking lot behind me could be the source of a lot of exciting new developments if the 2024 Summer Olympic Games come to Boston. Waterfront housing and world-class athletes in Dorchester? Approval of Boston's Olympic bid could make it possible. Boston 2024 believes UMass Boston's campus is an ideal location for the Olympic Village.
One, it's on the waterfront, and it makes a great village. It's adjacent to UMass Boston's playing fields, BC High, and BC High's playing fields.
These are fields more than 1,600 athletes, trainers, and coaches might access during their stay. The proposed UMass location is the former Bayside Exposition Center. UMass currently uses the 20 acres of space as a staff and student parking lot. Construction of new housing works for UMass's planned expansion.
It fits with UMass plan to build student housing. So the Olympics need 16,500 beds for the athletes themselves, for coaches, and for trainers, for the immediate team. UMass Boston is planning to build somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 beds over the next few years.
The site gave Boston a significant edge over the other U.S. contenders for the bid. The location is both sustainable and appealing. The rear of the property sits on the Dorchester Shores Reservation. Features include walking and running paths, park benches, and an extensive bay view. The majority of new housing will be movable units relocated after the games. UMass intends to use a portion for student housing, but has also mentioned the possibility of a new track and field facility. Live from Dorchester, I'm Brianna Jennings, WEBN News.
Thanks, Brianna. Now, even though Boston is in the running to host the 2024 Olympics, it does not necessarily mean everyone is in full support. Another committee has formed opposing the 2024 Games being held in Boston, titled No Boston Olympics, and is being led by Chris Dempsey. This committee does not believe the bid is in the best interest of the city. At the heart of its purpose is making sure the public's interests are as equally involved as the officials. The committee is running a fact check on all of Boston 2024's proposals and has created a web page responding to those proposals, encouraging the public to think deeper on the subject matter. Mayor Walsh plans to answer any of their unresolved concerns.
I think I'm meeting with No Boston Olympics tomorrow in my office to have a very good conversation about what my agenda is and how I plan on moving this city forward.
No Boston Olympics is making its voice heard as much as possible. Members of the committee have been attending public meetings and standing before the board to question their ideas and plans for the 2024 Games.
The group does not believe the Olympics would do anything to fix Boston's transportation issues. They question how the funds will be used and wonder whether the Games would actually help the economy in the long run. Due to the committee's recent involvements in public meetings, Boston 2024 is now set to hold another vote in November 2016 ballot. This ballot will be extremely important as it will alter the outcome of the decision. Representatives for Boston 2024 say they would drop the bid entirely if voters said no thank you. And coming up, we'll hear more about how the committee is planning for all these transportation troubles, along with the Mayor Marty Walsh's outlook on fixing these problems.
We'll also give you a breakdown of the budget you've been waiting for and share a little more about past host cities' successes.
Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. Now, Boston's transportation system is a topic that has come under severe scrutiny, especially after the brutal winter we've recently faced.
Mayor Marty Walsh explained that upgrading and renovating transportation will take place regardless of whether Boston wins the bid or not.
We have not had major investment in our public transportation in a long time. I know that there has been some investment now in the Green Line and the commuter rail stops and things like that moving forward. But we need to, and in the Red Line cars, I believe there's an RFP out right now that's tied up in court that buys new trains for Red and Orange Line, I believe, that the state did. As a member of the legislature, I voted to increase the gas tax so that we could upgrade our infrastructure. We have to upgrade our infrastructure whether or not we get an Olympics. I mean, we can't have a system breaking down while we're trying to promote economic opportunities in the city of Boston and not have ways of getting people in. So this is an opportunity that actually speeds up that conversation.
Boston 2024 believes it has all your answers to transportation concerns. We've got Mike Lucas with the inside scoop on what's being planned to lay out exactly what the community is reacting to the committee's vision.
The 2024 Summer Olympics may be coming to Boston, but the city needs to make some major changes before it can host the games.
All would admit we need some new Red and Orange Line cars. That is underway. The state is doing that now, and those will be delivered well in advance of the games. But expanding South Station to accommodate more train service, the Green Line expansion, and something I know that this community is interested in is a rail link between the convention center and the Back Bay Hotel.
But making these changes for the future would have a major impact on the city's residents today, especially their commutes.
It impacts your whole day, your week. That's a quality of life thing. So, I mean, just the last issues with the T and all the snow, it was a huge problem for a lot of people. So, I wouldn't be looking forward to experiencing that again, even if it was the Olympics.
Well, everyone seemingly understands the commuting issues the 2024 Olympics would bring to Boston. Some people still like the idea of it, while others not so much.
If President Obama has any sense in his head, he will make sure that the Olympics do not come to Boston.
Given recent events in Boston over the last couple of years, this would offer kind of that shot in the arm that a slightly wounded city could use.
Massachusetts committed $13 billion over the next decade towards expanding the lines and creating new infrastructure. For WEBN, I'm Mike Lucas.
As Mayor Walsh noted, these improvements will come within the next few years, even if Boston does not end up hosting the games.
He's hoping the upgrades and billions of dollars to be put into construction will override the Daily T Writers Olympic Games concerns. And now for your budget breakdown. Boston 2024 plans to deliver a cost-effective way that will privately fund it over the course of the entire bidding process through 2017. Tax dollars will not be used towards the construction of venues or towards the operation of the games itself. Richard Davey, CEO of Boston 2024, explained how exactly it all will work.
We are very confident that both the operating and the capital budget to pull the games off can be paid for by ticket sales, by TV revenue. NBC, as many folks know, cover the Olympics, and they are scheduled to cover the Olympics through 2028 with an agreement they have with the International Olympic Committee. Sponsorships and other revenues to pay for the operation of the games. What's that? It's feeding the athletes, it's the transportation to move folks around, it's renting facilities, it's the money that we need to actually run the games.
Boston 2024 is projecting a $4.7 billion operating budget. As Davey explained, this will be paid for privately and not through the taxpayers' dollars. The security costs will be paid for by the federal government, and public investment will be limited to transportation, infrastructure improvements needed even without the games itself. Within the next 3 years, the committee has a budget of $75 million for the bidding process. That will be raised entirely through private donations.
Now, despite the budget plans that are in place for the 2024 games during the bidding phase, many citizens have the fear that plans will not run accordingly due to past Olympic Games in which cities did overrun their budgets.
To combat those fears, Mayor Marty Walsh already has a plan in place to protect the city against such risks.
I insisted on 2024 to take out a $25 million insurance policy to cover. Excuse me? The $25 million insurance policy to cover any overruns that would happen from now till 2017. And if there's an agreement that goes on beyond that, I will make sure there's language in that agreement that protects the city of Boston from any overruns that might happen.
Many have questioned whether or not hosting the Olympic Games truly results in economic and social benefits for that host city. Davey explained that past cities have seen much success after the Games for years to follow, one in particular being the 1984 Los Angeles Olympic Games.
Los Angeles, Atlanta, and Salt Lake City all turned a cash flow positive. What does that mean? They turned a surplus. Los Angeles is probably the best example. John and I had an opportunity to visit Los Angeles a couple weeks ago, and for the last 31 years, there has been a foundation, a charity, which received the money from what was left over from the 1984 Games, and for the last 31 years, has been giving out grants to youth sport programs around Los Angeles to the tune of $250 million.
In addition to the 1984 Los Angeles Games, the Salt Lake City Games generated $1.5 billion. The recent London Games provided 70,000 jobs for local residents and created 11,000 units of affordable housing.
The discussion of jobs is something that weighs very heavily on the citizens of Boston because it's one benefit that can be seen almost immediately.
Yes, and due to the extensive amount of construction required to make the Games happen, thousands of jobs will be created in the 7-year build-up to the Games. Yet, in addition to the construction jobs, Mayor Marty Walsh intends to make the creation of the Games a communal effort from all kinds of Boston citizens.
As mayor, I'm going to insist not just in the hiring here, but also in everything we do, whether it's building of venues or whatever it might be, that we're going to have a full inclusive participation by everybody.
We can expect to see opportunities for skills training, thousands of jobs in construction, as well as a variety of student opportunities due to large-scale involvement on college campuses.
Overall, although there are many supporters and opposers of Boston's bid, a past U.S. Olympic athlete got to voice his own opinion of the potential of the Games. Dave Silk, a member of the 1980 USA Olympic hockey team, shared a little bit about his own experience and how it relates to Boston 2024's vision and commitment to the success of the 2024 Games.
And to me, that's the real miracle, is that through sports, as John mentioned, incredible things can happen, personally, collectively, and to whole communities. And when I look back at 1980, the bulk of our success was due to the fact that we had incredible leadership, incredible teamwork, and an incredible singleness of purpose. And if there's one thing that I truly believe in, and is the reason why I'm here, it's that I believe in that sense of leadership and conviction for these guys. And in no small measure do I think that, without that strong leadership it couldn't be pulled off. But with these guys at the helm, sky's the limit. Thank you.
As Silk mentioned, the committee does have a long road ahead of it.
That's for sure, Isaac, but for now we've just about wrapped up the progress of the bid so far. The next step for Boston is finishing its scheduled 9 public community meetings and its 20 statewide community meetings that will span over another 17 weeks, where it will continue to hear the public's opinion and discuss its future plans.
Here's a list of the upcoming public meetings you can attend to hear more about the progress of the bid, as well as upcoming projects and opinions from Boston citizens.
Thank you for watching this Boston 2024 Olympic Games special edition of WEBN News. I'm Meredith Berry.
And I'm Isaac Moore. Thanks and have a great day.